Hello my people, today we're going to be talking about what happened between Lieutenant Colonel A.M. Yerima and Minister Wike. I am going to give you a breakdown history of the whole matter concerning the land, from when the land was first purchased, who purchased it first, what it was meant for, and we're going to dissect it together. Then finally we're going to be showing reviews from other Nigerians that know about this property and what it's for. Don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment. In case you missed the whole gist yesterday, now let me start by playing what happened yesterday for you to watch.
I can tell man at his level, even he has a problem, he cannot reach me and look, I'm sorry. So what happened? You will send soldiers to intimidate who? We are all from this country, and this is government. You cannot be higher than any government. You cannot be carrying gun to intimidate people to not to do their work. Let me tell you, if that government was the first staff who spoke to me now, he could have killed everybody here. She cannot do for that against government.
Because the papers are complete and he said submit.
Are you the one? Listen, you know the problem you have. Are you the one that will say, paper? Show me that you are, first of all, show me that government gave you this place. Two, show me that you have an approval to build what you are building. It has nothing to do with, I'm a vice admiral, I'm a lieutenant general. That is not it. We must work according to law. We must work according to law.
Yes.
You had a who that me.
I'm an officer, I take to order.
Those that you tell you have a
Star General.
Okay.
I can't say no. Everything was outside.
Will you stop that? Will you stop that?
I'm an officer, I have integrity.
Shut up, I'm not good officer.
I'm not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir, I won't shut up. Sir,
I was a student, you got to see school.
Sir, you can't shut
Will
up.
you keep quiet? Did you eat food?
I'm not a fool. I'm not a
Did you shoot
fool.
anybody?
Okay, that is a brief summary of what transpired yesterday between Lieutenant Yerima and Minister Wike. First, what is the history of the plot? That plot is plot 1946 in Gawadam. Now let us start. That plot was first allocated in 2007, and this land allocation was allocated to Santos Estate Limited. Now when this land was allocated to them, the main aim this land was allocated to them was for park and recreational center, where people just go and have leisure, have fun. It is not a place, it was not given to Santos Estate for residential purpose. So in 2022, Santos Estate applied for a change of allocation of what that piece of land was used for. That happened in 2022. They applied that plot of land be changed from park and recreational, and they should give them license for them to be able to sell it for people to build commercial houses. Now the company partitioned this land into smaller parts. Now take note, they've not yet gotten approval from the government, but yet they went on partitioning the land and selling to people, believing that if at all, by hope, they are going to get the approval for them to convert the land into commercial use. Now part of those people that bought this land is retired Vice Admiral Gambo. So he was part of the people that purchased this land. Note, Santos has not collected an approval letter for them to convert that space into a commercial area or a residential area. In 2023-2025, that plot was redesignated. Now take it that Factor declined the request, and note, when this thing happened, allegedly Wike was not yet the minister of FCT. Now Factor struck out what the land was primarily used for. They struck out that they should not use the land for commercial activities, and they struck it out that that land henceforth should not be used for park and recreational activities. My people wanted to see the gist too. Now the land has been redesignated for public and corporate use. Primarily the land was assigned that it should be used for park and recreation. Then secondly, now these people applied, Santos applied that I beg, let us use this land for residential purpose so that we can sell off this land. But that was also declined. Rather, they said that portion of land should be used for public and corporate offices. That was the new mandate given to the land. Note that this new development completely cut out Santos Estate from being in charge of that land. Let us listen to this analysis.
That particular land was allocated to a company in 2007, Santos Estate Limited, for park and recreation. Let me say this again. Allocated in 2007 for park and recreation. The company did not do anything on the land because that place is a parkway, it's a walkway, it's a road corridor. You don't build there. Then in 2022, the company wrote to the FCTA, the minister, oh, I want approval from you to convert the purpose to commercial. From park to build park. You know what park is, a recreation, not permanent structures. Probably in anticipation of the minister's approval for conversion, the man decided to partition the land, a land allocated to him for park and recreation. He now partitioned the land and sold to people, including the former chief of naval staff. And that is why I want to say here that the former chief of naval staff was scammed. He was scammed. And he has realized that he was scammed. Instead of him to now come out and seek help, he resorted to use military might. Now, in 2022, the minister of FCT declined that request, did not grant the request for change of land use made by that company. That was where it ended. But he had already sold the land to people, giving them the impression that the land use will change. Wike was not the minister then.
In 2022,
Wike was not the minister. Now, after selling land allocated to you for park and recreation, for people to build house, who should the former chief of naval staff go and hold? The person who scammed him or the government? He chose not to hold the person who scammed him, the company who scammed him. Now again, that particular portion has now been redesignated for the purpose of, if you know Abuja very well, you know how Babushi is. That is where you have Ministry of Works, Environment. That portion of the land, that parkway, is for public buildings and corporate buildings, not residential. Meaning that you cannot build residential house there. That is one. So as of today, Vice Admiral Gambo does not have a title document, showing that he owns the land. He does not own the land. Now, assuming but not considering that he has title documents and he owns the land, before you begin development of a land, there are processes you must pass through. One of such processes is to have a building plan. Building plan showing what you want to put on the land. And you take your building plan to the development control. See, you take your building plan to development control. The question Nigeria should ask Vice Admiral Gambo is, did he take his building plan on that land to development control?
I want us together, let's discuss the pathway which this whole drama has played out completely. Now, the first thing that happened is that when the development control was stopped by the military people on site, they called Wike. Now, the truth is Wike the next person they should call if you have an issue? Okay, let's continue. They called Wike. They did not call the police. They did not call a judge. They did not file this thing. They called Wike direct. Bam. What Wike did was to call the chief defense staff. Nobody is looking out for the court. Nobody wants to get the court involved. Nobody wants to get a court injunction, which is the normal thing to do in every society. This further goes to show us that our court system has been replaced by what is called Emamadu. People that have phones and that can call contact. What happens to the poor man?
Yeah, so first let me commend the officer A.M. Yerima who has stood tall in the face of verbal abuse and intimidation by the ever-powered drunk Wike, who is generally very badly behaved. He does not seem to understand that public office should come with responsibility. Ordinarily, the military should not be anywhere close to protecting land or property of anyone. But when we are dealing with people like Wike, who take the law into their hand, who break the law at will, since he became FCT minister, he has been above the law. The law is clear that you cannot revoke Mr. A's land and give it to Mr. B. You can only revoke land in overriding public interest. Maybe you want to build an airport, a railway, a road, a hospital. But what Wike has been doing is he has been revoking ordinary people's land and giving it to his children, his friends, his political allies. And this is wrong. The only reason why we are hearing of this now is that he has gone to touch the land of a powerful man. He has been doing it to thousands of people since he became minister. And nobody has had the guts or courage to stop him. One of the reasons why Goodluck Jonathan, that I had, Goodluck Jonathan wants to contest against President Tinubu is because Wike went ahead and revoked his land. Why would you go and revoke Jonathan's land? For what? On what basis? You understand? And he revokes people's land, then give it to other people. in contravention with the law. So when you live in a society where law is not respected, then you have no other option but to resort to self-help. And that is not to say that anyone is encouraging resort to self-help. But Wike is badly behaved. The company that was allocated this land that Wike went to invade to take, Santos Properties and its subsidiaries, they got allocation for 10 hectares in 3 places. That's 30 hectares. They were the one that cleared the land, compensated the natives around the place, put in all the facilities that the place now lose attract. The place is far away in Gadwa. And one of the former Naval chief was the one that went to go and meet this Santos company and said, oh, I want part of the land because I want to do my wife wants to do an event center. And now, because they have now developed the area, we went to the place, saw it, now felt that you should take it. They even had meetings with the FCDA people, and they agreed that they will give government back 8 hectares out of the 30 hectares so that they can just do their thing. This Wike still refused and said he must take everything. How can you take everything when this land was given to them 15 years ago? They've paid all necessary dues. You just wake up one day, so moto, and say you want to revoke the land. And you're not revoking the land in overriding public interest. This place is a park. It was allocated for park. Wike has converted it now to residential. This is what he has been doing all over Abuja. This thing that he's doing has economic and environmental impact and implication in the FCT. Today, many banks no longer accept title documents to give loan or as collateral in bank because Wike has bastardized, the issue of land. You can have a land today, and tomorrow Wike will come and revoke it. So which bank wants to take the risk? And the reason why housing is very important is that housing is an economic tool for development. But Wike has abused all the processes and abused his office as FCT minister.
The only question I want to ask is, what happens to taking your cases to the court? Is it bad? That is why I'm now asking this question now. Is Wike the court? What happens to people that does not have your number? Okay, let's leave the Rear Admiral. Let's talk about other people that bought the plot of land. Do they have your number to call you? This is the issue I'm having. Everybody wants to be God over every situation. And it's very funny that we have we've removed the use of our courtrooms. Rather, it's now connection. Call who matters.
I describe what has played out as moment of despicable moments and distinguished moments. So let me start with the military. According to the Honorable Minister, approvals have not been gotten. He's asking for those papers to have been gotten, else they will not develop. Perhaps these people went there to do their work, and they were prevented because of the security presence of the military guys who were there, of course, on the orders of the former naval chief. Well, at the end of the day, the minister had to show up, which was a big mistake. First and foremost, coming there as an enforcer of the law, it's a total big mistake. So on one hand, we must condemn the incidents of resorting to self-help, because that's what the naval chief would have done, given the trail of events since Yerima became minister. Now that in itself has to be probed. This whole revocation, all of these land issues, the allegations of him taking land not for public good, but for the interest of his cronies and all of that, that's a different matter altogether. Perhaps this naval chief haven't seen what has been playing out in the FCT. Whether he has the papers, he doesn't have the papers, has insisted that what he has, he will use, which is power. And he has used the use power. Now, resorting to self-help is not acceptable. Our military men have better use than to be used to block property, prevent authority from doing whatever it is their work is. So that is totally condemnable. But you can't also blame him, as I said, due to the trail of events. On the other part is the fact that the Honorable Minister needs to conduct himself well in public. We must say that as clear as possible. Now, if you heard that the naval boss or former naval boss has sent his boys to the scene and they are preventing your people to do their work, what do you think you will do exactly to make those boys obey you? Except you don't understand our military hierarchy and framework. They will not listen to you. You're not the commander-in-chief. There are only two sets of people they will listen to. Either their direct boss or the commander-in-chief, which is the president. Not you. You're just a civilian, a sackable civilian, with the greatest sense of respect to all you have done, Honorable Minister. Why? And I'm almost blaming his security detail for not extracting him out of that place, for even allowing him to come. But knowing he knew some wicked, the Honorable Minister, perhaps he would have advised him. He would have maybe told him, no, he's not a coward and all of that, like he's telling the military officer. The minister had no business having a conversation with this officer in the first place. He's the Honorable Minister of the FCT. There are channels he would have used, and those boys, those military officers will leave that place. He will not even show up in the first place. But perhaps because of his nature, force, and all of that, he wants to show. Now look at the embarrassing situation. And you cannot, Honorable Minister, there's a way to conduct yourself in public. You can't be calling people shut up and stupid. No, that's what they say, foolish. Foolish. That is an officer of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Whether he came there on a legal or an illegal,
and
whatever.
Whether he's 20 years younger or not, he should not be. That's foolish.
He's an adult. He's an officer. He's lucky that this officer has conduct. He's behaved himself. In spite of all the provocation, this gentleman behaved himself. Now, if you understand how military work works, watch the guy. He stood his ground. He did not move. He was calming his boys down because they were already getting angry. These people are trained to kill. That is their training. And you want to come and be a civilian adversary in their front? Are you joking? So on this particular one, As much as it is the honorable minister's job to do his work and not be prevented by any military or whatever presence, it was a bad move.
Now, this whole thing goes to show us what is happening in Nigeria. It's from your connection down, a command is received, and then everybody will comply to that command. Now, nobody wants to go through the law. Nobody wants to go through the process, and nobody wants to seek justice. Rather, we just want to pick up our phones and make calls to somebody that has a connection and let that person place an order for our problem to be solved. In a country that is working, law replaces loyalty. Document replaces phone call. Court order replaces connection. And finally, no man's number is higher than the court. My people, when I don't hear the full gist about what happened, please don't forget to like, share, and also comment. Subscribe to my channel. I dey wait for comment section. Let's talk about this whole thing in the comment section. Thank you.